just don't know what you do to that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to whatever number podcast episode this is. The numbers are relevant. The only thing that matters is just the absolute weird day that today was in the League of Legends universe. So, let, can I run you through my last 24 hours?
Yes.
So I went to bed excited that we were going to have probably the cinematic today, but knowing that I was going to be in the office. So it was like, okay, I packed everything that I thought that I would need to go into work to do everything there,
Hmm.
and was fully prepped to not check social media until later in the afternoon just because the cinematic was probably going to drop.
Hmm.
I I immediately went on Reddit when I woke up just to see and saw that the LoL esports news had broke. Like that MSI was changing formats, Worlds was changing formats. I was not expecting that whatsoever this morning, which is made even worse by the fact that last night at 9 p.m., I got an email from Riot Games with all of that information under embargo until 4 a.m. our time. But I never checked my email, so I didn't know. But I should have known that those changes were coming before everybody else. But my dumbass didn't check my email. So I checked that, and I'm in a phenomenal mood. MSI got double elim, Worlds got Swiss stage, everything's good. And then all of a sudden, I open up Twitter. It's like, okay, let's talk about this. And then everybody's freaking out about the cinematic. And I went back to Reddit, and it was like, oh, I somehow cherry picked the only line in Reddit that said esports, but avoided the 5 other posts that said about the cinematic. I was like, okay, I got 30 minutes. I'm going to react to this real quick and get that out there for YouTube. So that's out. The minute I saw it, I was like, oh no,
Yep.
today's not going to be a good day. Today's going to be a
No.
really, really, really bad day. So I put it out there, and just on my way to work, I'm like, shit. Today's today's gonna be a very unproductive day at work. Luckily, I still was
Yeah.
productive, but then the whole community just like went up in flames today.
It was suspect. It was suspect. Like the whole trailer, I was like, okay. I was like, this is their vibe. I get we're going through this. And I was like, I didn't even read the time to be honest, and I wasn't paying attention to the time. So like as it was going, I was like, okay, we're picking up. There's like this butterfly thing, whatever. Like, let's see what this is gonna be. And then they go to like I don't know if it was Dragon or Baron Pit, I can't remember. But like they go to one of the pits, I think it was Baron, and like a Kali Shurikens, I think that's what that was supposed to be, came
Yeah,
down. And I was like, so that's the only champ I see. I was like, that's what we're getting. And I was like, that's aggressive. I was like, that's a very aggressive tone. And yeah, Twitter was just bad. Twitter was real bad.
my favorite actually was I saw Tyler One's reaction to it, and somebody the top comment in chat was time stamping the steps of processing grief, and it was like first denial, second stage like anger, third stage acceptance, like fourth stage like excuses, like or whatever it was hilarious because Tyler One went through it all. The video
Hmm.
ended, and the first thing that he's saying for a good 2 minutes was that's not it. Like the thing's coming tomorrow. Like this isn't it. And he was
Yeah.
convinced. Like he was heavily convinced. I was like, oh no. Poor guy.
Yeah, the what was it? The event today, how'd the numbers do? I
It
didn't get to
wasn't
watch it.
I don't think viewership's worth like diving into because one, the event was poorly marketed.
Well,
Two,
yeah, yeah.
uh I mean, I want to say the time, but then again, that's the time that the LCS is going to be, so I don't know why I'm writing that off as a factor. It was like 50,000, 60,000 concurrent for LCS.
That's not bad, I guess.
No, considering there was
For
no
a
double
fun
lift,
event.
no Bjergsen, like no hype teams other than just like a few
Yeah.
fun players. Yeah. So it was I mean overall it was a really good event. I actually enjoyed the bits of it that I did get to see, but already it sucked watching it. at work, but my attention was just entirely consumed by the cinematic, and so was Twitch chat. Apparently, they had to disable Twitch chat for a little bit,
Why?
turn it into emote only then because people were just Twitch chat was
Dogging
bad.
everything.
Yeah, because it's the first time that anybody's getting any words out in regards to the changes, the time change, the cinematic adding on top of that was just like the LCS got the brunt of it. Anything and everything that
Yeah.
could go wrong, it was going to be brought out in chat for this. You didn't have the LEC or anything else to act as like a lightning rod beforehand. It it was bad. And then you saw people from Riot tweeting out today, like trying to just, I guess, stop the hate mail that was probably coming their way. Because I'd imagine their
Yeah.
DMs were flooded all day.
Oh, it had to be. Like the I don't know. I mean, hopefully it wasn't like negative stuff. I mean, usually people focus on the death threats and stuff like that more than like actual comments in a DM. So like that's never gonna get through. But it's just like I don't know. The event I didn't watch it because I didn't really have time and I didn't feel like going back to watch it type of thing. But the whole vibe was just thrown off from the video anyways.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't really like inspired to go watch the event because I know the video is for the season and the idea is that it's for league in general, not for esports. But it's just like I don't know. It already seemed like it was going to be a negative day, so why bother jumping into the community and like just listening to everything today? I was like, I'm gonna let people cool down. I'm gonna let them figure it out. I mean, they disabled Twitch chat, so obviously I wasn't too far off not jumping into the problems.
They
It's like,
re-enabled it after a certain period of time, to be fair.
yeah, I
But
just mean it was like I got no reason to dive in dive into it just yet.
yeah, I mean
Week one I think will be fine though.
the event itself, I must say, was actually kind of fun. Watching Sven just absolutely
Mhm.
shit talk Busio and Jensen on stream was hilarious. Had that been like a normal LCS week, yeah, I think that would have been a little bit problematic. But because it's
Yeah,
just like a for fun event and they're just all bantering, it was hilarious. It was games 2 and 3 that I got to catch were very enjoyable, like
that's
just from
good.
a casual viewing experience. But like you said, like what was going to be a day where it's like tune in, like my video plan for this morning was like I'm gonna hype up the Boomer versus Zoomer thing, try and get that out and market it a little bit. Every bit of hype and anticipation that I had for the day was like gone because I
Yep,
was convinced up until the statement came out from Riot Games that like this is it. Like we're done for. The thought crossed my mind that something could have went wrong, but given the lack of communication on everything else, there was zero reason to believe so.
yeah. I mean, the meme I made for you is basically what their communication has been. It's just like, hey, let's see what people are saying, and then boop. And then today, like, after everything goes down, they finally come out and say something and try to pick up, like, some pieces to their problems. But it's like, I don't know. I mean, what they said didn't make me, though, go like, oh, this is what we needed. It was just like, yeah, I mean. They're like they tried to like essentially PR like play it off that they know well they're now seeing it didn't hit the mark and like now we're hearing that like internal stuff and all that like who knows and I mean with 100 Thieves like big layoffs today
Yeah.
I'm like kind of curious if Riot had I mean how bad's Riot were because we
For
already know
the
they were pretty bad but
for those that want to see what Paul sent me, pulled it up on stream now.
oh yeah.
It was the last thing, but yeah. Did you see Double S tweet as well?
No, what'd he say?
He tweeted out 70 thieves, frowny face, and then
Oh dang.
very quickly got told to delete it because that's the worst fucking thing that you can ever put out there right now. Like
Yeah.
people lost their jobs and you're joking about it. Like that's I know like me smiling right now comes off. I hope this doesn't come off in any way. I'm smiling because it's just so fucked up to say that I don't know how to like process it otherwise.
I mean, that's kind of wild he would put that. Like,
That's your own org. Like you are in 100 Thieves. People just lost their jobs and got laid off, and you are really joking about that right now.
yeah.
I'm just think I put myself in that situation, I'd be fucking pissed.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of a bad look. I didn't know he was saying all that.
Yeah.
That's pretty awkward. But, I mean, that's double if though. We kind of know he's that way. Like,
Yep.
he's like usually toxic, so it doesn't shock me he'd be like that.
Yeah, the
Not
lack of
like,
social awareness is not surprising whatsoever for him.
no, no.
But everything
I
just
mean, the
kind of
dude
left
basically pouted an entire split until he got kicked off of a team. Like,
Yeah.
essentially,
You're
like
not
if you're not winning, he's kind of like the worst thing you'll have on the team.
agreed. I'm sure
But
Devilis is going to come out and say something and apologize in the feed. And
yeah, yeah.
some people are going to be like, "Oh, it's a joke," and it's like, just a little bit of reading the room is all it takes.
Yeah, that's kind of like, yeah. It's kind of different to joke about livelihoods. Like, I don't know. Like, livelihoods are just a different joke, but
Yeah.
who knows? Well,
I
someone said he's gonna get benched anyway, so
do
what's it
you do
matter?
you know who Tom do you know who Tom Shu is?
No, no.
I'll just let you discover that as he messages in here. He's got some interesting takes from like Hotline League and
Oh, okay.
all that. Hilarious guy.
So
But
he's a man of culture, I see.
he is a man of your culture. You will enjoy Tom Shu.
Always hate.
Ugh. But I'm curious from your perspective because I know my take on it, but from your side, do you believe Riot when they put out their statement and say we will say more, we will tell you more in the upcoming days. We're apologizing. We promise you we're not like putting League second fiddle. Do you believe it or do you think it's just corporate talk?
No, I think it's corporate talk. I mean, the actions speak louder than words, at least. And so far, they have done nothing to prove that it's not second fiddle. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, the game, even the balance of the game doesn't really feel good right now. Like, usually, I'd say preseason patches, like, going into the season, they're like crazy, they're wacky, and then the last patch, like, before going into the season, kind of fixes a lot of the weird things that you didn't like, and it starts to set a tone that's like, okay, there's certain broken things, but not everything's terrible. This preseason still feels like it doesn't matter. Like, it still feels super weird. It feels like there's certain things that are just busted. Like, bruisers are clearly the best class, and there is nothing to even compete with them, in my opinion. Like, nothing. A bruiser can, like, two good bruisers on one team can easily win you the game. Easily. If your jungler and your top laner play decent on bruisers, you just win.
You're not wrong. I just don't like I think that meta can shift and change at the end of the day.
It can,
Like I don't think there's ever going to be like when it comes to like meta discussions and who's strong and weak, I think that's going to vary consistently. My big thing is
for
like
sure.
is there enough that was done in the preseason to make the game feel fresh for people? And I don't
Yeah,
think the
that's
answer
true
is
too.
yeah.
No.
Like the only thing
Yeah.
was the Hextech or the Chemtech Drake. That's
Mhm.
literally the only thing. And even then, we've already been introduced to that, so there was nothing new at all. Like at least last year we
Yeah.
had Chemtech and the Hextech Souls, which were an addition, like building on it. It adds more diversity to the map changes that were coming. There were like on top of other changes like the item reworks and stuff like that. Like it felt like there was a little bit more. Now they're just kind of building on the system that they have which is not necessarily a bad thing when the game is older. You want stability. But I think when you look at Necrit, when you look at who's Scooch and all the other content creators and also like all the casual fans that are quitting, they're all quitting because they say that the game isn't fun. Which for me, from a casual or from a competitive standpoint, or somebody that I would consider like casually competitive, the game's always going to be fun to me because I can't replicate that experience elsewhere, regardless of what's in the game added or new. Like, it's irrelevant to me. But clearly, you're losing your casual base pretty rapidly.
Yeah.
And I know people are claiming for like game modes and stuff like that to come in. No, I think that's bullshit. The game modes are a one-off thing to like bring you a little bit of excitement, but ultimately you don't have love. If the only thing you're praying for is like, oh, the game modes are gonna get me back into the game, no, it's not, because you still don't enjoy Summoner's Rift. There's a reason why you're playing the game modes and not Summoner's Rift. So what can you do to make the base game itself, your experience on Summoner's Rift, more enjoyable? More playable for people, and that I don't think they've had an answer for a while now.
No, and the game like isn't. I'm not gonna say it's like just terrible and like it's not fun to play, but like casually the only thing they did for a casual player essentially in the preseason was ruin ARAM. Like that's about it. They changed ARAM. I don't love the changes personally. The Hextech gates aren't really the worst. Like they're kind of cool. They're all right. I can deal with them. But the walls I just can't stand. I don't understand. It's already a small map. I don't get why they thought funneling was even better on a small poke map. Like it's already based around poke and being tiny.
Yep.
But they did that. And yeah, new ARAM is based. I mean, not to me, but not to a lot of people. I'll say that. A lot of people don't enjoy it as much. But it's like I don't really like it. And then what else? I mean, then Summoner's Rift is fine. It is what it is. Like,
But that's the
but
thing.
you aren't wrong. They didn't add anything. Like
It's not even
more
added.
fun.
Like, my thought process remains the same behind it. It's like, if you're not gonna add anything, fine, but you need to change the way people interact with it. And that's where I think like the
Yeah.
Valorant Premiere mode, like adding, like, sure, I don't know if there's a better competitive game out there than League of Legends. I think that's the reason why you have so many people that played the game in its prime. And they weren't just playing it casually either. People were grinding ranked. Like, ranked has always been and always will be the premier thing that attracts League of Legends. It's your 20% of your audience that pays for like 80% of the game. Is the analogy that I keep coming back to. But like, you're losing people on that. Rank doesn't mean as much as it did before. Also, thank you, Parsval, for the follow, for the goal, and how's it going? But I think you need something else. You need to level it up. Valorant, in the short amount of time that it's existed, is already adding more ways to play the game of Valorant than League of Legends has.
Yep.
Just from a stock standard point of view. That's even taking out TDM, taking out Spike Rush and all that. You have the traditional unranked mode. You have ranked mode. And now you're going to have Premier.
Yeah.
What else is there
I
to
mean,
say?
if you adding a map would have been great. Like this would have been the season to add one. If you're not gonna do much else, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I will say another thing is like the game, the less effort they've put in, the champion reveals haven't really been as good. So it feels like every champ that gets released is kind of a waste of time. Like, Cassante's not really cool. There wasn't really a ton that came out with him, or at least it wasn't pushed to me, and it wasn't that unique. And then they were just like, well, he's here, and he's completely busted and broken, and he has 18 more dashes to add to the game, and that was it. That was all they did. They were just like, here's this champ that is really annoying to play against, blah. And then they just left.
Yeah.
And they didn't fix him for a really long time. He was super busted. So I would play normal draft instead of like blind pick or something in normals, because sometimes I'll just do blind pick for fun. I quit doing it because people just kept picking him and curb stomping. And I was like, I'm good. Like, this is getting old. And he is a villain.
I don't know what you do though. Like
Nothing.
assuming premiere mode's not coming, because I
It's
doubt the
not.
the client can't handle that. What do you do? Because you're like, the competitive base clearly is going to be there for it. Like, you don't have to worry about us to a certain extent. All we need is ranked, and we just need the LCS, the LCK, and the LPL to exist. That's it. And like, I know, I don't, I just don't know, because there's other projects. I heard a rumor, not from anybody official. This is just a purely speculative thing that I heard is a possibility of Riot looking into the ability to do what Valorant does with moving servers. Like, you get into a game, your servers based on like the aggregate total of the lobby. Trying to get the same thing in League of Legends. I don't know how many years out that would be if that is happening, but like, even then, I don't think that's enough. Like, yeah, it's a big thing, but I don't think that changes the way that people play. As much as people in North America want to bitch about ping, I don't think that solves the problem
Hmm.
at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think ping is really the issue, but
I mean, by all
I
means,
don't think.
that should
Yeah,
happen in coordination with everything else, but it can't be the
yeah.
only thing. Like, I
I
don't
was
want to
gonna say
say
I don't
like
think.
I don't want to write that off as like ping's not an issue. It is. It should be solved, but like, solving that on its own and then dropping and be like, here, we solved the ping problem. Go play the same
Yeah,
game that nobody else is, that clearly the casual community is not enjoying at the moment. And why we
yeah.
only have
It's
one
like,
NA server is because of the server size. Sorry to cut you off, Paul. We don't have enough people. That's
yeah. I
why.
was gonna say that too. It's too small, but they. I don't know what they could add though in conjunction, because it's like right now it's kind of too late. Like, you don't want to massively overhaul mid-season. Like, maybe they do, and maybe that's their idea to solve it. But a massive overhaul now would just piss people off.
Yep.
Like, I think they could drop a game mode, like, I guess slash map. Like, maybe introduce the 1v1s. Like, I don't know, do something fresh that people, like, you think you can get people to enjoy, get them to buy in for a little bit, and then run it. But right now I mean, it's kind of too late. It's one of those situations. It's like, this season might be a wash. It might be time to look ahead, like, to next season, see what you can do. I mean, it seems like the only thing they did that people love is the changes to competitive, like
Yeah.
with MSI and that. I mean, that'll help.
It it's interesting because it's like, when your casual audience has been fading, as we said, the esports one is always going to be the one that is consistent, and I don't think it's a bad move for Riot to just like tell people, like, just publicly come out there and be like, look, our casual audience is dwindling. When we put efforts into cinematic, like, okay, obviously they still need to do a baseline cinematic because I think that's good for the game, especially when you have things like Arcane that are still in the pipeline and you want to make sure that that is still prevalent as the MMO eventually comes out. But like,
Yeah.
any major events or anything else that's lore related that people keep crying for, just come out and tell us and show us the numbers and be like, look, to all the people claiming that we want this, it's not worth our time. And just
Yeah.
be honest with people. So that way you can say, look, esports worth our time. We think that there's active market. We believe that's a better marketing tool for our game. The esports people are going to be around for a longer period of time and be willing to invest more. So we're going to dedicate more assets to them and trying to
Yep.
push that side of things, monetize them better, and set ourselves up in that regard. Like, just tell people. If that's what you truly believe, because that last minute trailer, which clearly based on the tweets is a replacement for the cinematic, which did not get done in time,
Oh,
was
it didn't.
yeah. So that's, if you read the tweet carefully, that's why I said like I wasn't sure how you took it. And let me pull this up on stream just so that people can see it as well, so everybody understands. So I can walk everybody through here, because I'm very familiar with corporate PR talk. So I can tell you I can walk you through the thought process and what these things actually mean, or what they're supposed to mean. Let me just pull them up. Okay. So the important one is they said there were some unprecedented circumstances that had us choose an alternative approach to the season 2023 video. That can read one of two ways. Either A, they identified early on in the process that the studio that they wanted to partner with for the cinematic was either like any studio that they wanted was simply not available, or they weren't going to be able to get one that was up to their standards, or they didn't have the staffing to do anything internally. Sure, whatever. Or it interprets to they tried to do something and we're still in the process of it, and the unprecedented circumstances meant that something happened, it got delayed, they couldn't get it done in time, so they had to come out with this last minute video, because this video that they put out today didn't take all that long to make relative to everything else that they've done. They understand our feedback. We should have been more communicative. That's just responding to community backlash. The last tweet that people were picking apart and not believing is, we are committed to giving you more details about what that investment looks like in the next couple of days. People are saying that that's not going to come. Riot is not going to respond today and lay out everything. They need a few days to collect everything, figure out what they can show, what they can't show, and try and develop, like, they have to give a more in-depth look into what League of Legends is going to look like 3 years ago than they ever have before, because people are not buying into the vision. But they still cannot spoil certain things. So they need 72 hours, give or take, to put this all together and then have the conversation. So I understand why they didn't just drop everything and put it all out there today, because then people would just look at it and be like, well, you're trying to put out a fire that you're better off waiting 2 days and then going from there. Because 2 days from now, people will have cooled off a little bit and we can have an actual honest conversation about moving forward with League of Legends, rather than just dealing with the emotion of the moment right now.
Yeah, I agree. And like, if they would have said that, I think it would have come off a bit more honest, and people would have probably been a bit more forgiving if they were willing to just come out and be like, hey, this was our actual issues. Obviously, I guess you can't say that because it's corporate world. Like,
That's
you're
the
not
problem.
allowed to just dumpster somebody. But I don't know. This was like, even if you have all those issues, it's just odd that nobody through the pipeline said that this wasn't good enough.
I mean,
or we should like put something out and say that it's going to be delayed.
I mean, the thing with that though is that you saw, to kind of go on Khan's point, Rev3, Swim Bananas, Moose, and a bunch of other rioters spoke out today saying that we get it, we know. The reason why that was not communicated out to the public is because they likely would have lost their job had they said anything prior to this.
That's true.
I am not allowed to just come out and tweet that I disagree with something that my employer is doing, because I will get fired. So these people can't speak out. And yes, they are still trying to push the best interest of all of us. They very much love this game as much as we do. It is not their fault or their choices that are likely leading towards this. It is the choices of those above them. You can do the math from there. It's a tough spot to be in. I don't
It
envy
is very
anybody at
tough.
Riot right now.
I mean, it's a really tough spot. And with all the leaving that's been happening lately anyway, well, not leaving, I guess, but they've lost quite a bit of talent in Freak and Dash. And I guess Riv a couple of years ago goes over to
Valorant.
Valorant, right? Those are a lot of big voices that are kind of gone now, or at least not there to like kind of hold over this kind of thing. And
Yep.
a situation like this isn't really something that I'd say Jat really usually speaks up around. I don't really
No.
see Jat kind of take on these kinds of narratives. So it's like I don't even know who from the NA side would come and kind of calm this down. Like this isn't really something that I feel like the current regime does or like what they do. I mean, EU side, like LEC side, I know they could handle this kind of heat. Like they'd figure something out to do it. But this isn't really something I think LCS is currently set up to do, or at least North American, keep the North American audience positive when it's already a negative audience, I guess, in general.
Yeah. Like
Like,
that's the problem is the audience is more pessimistic than literally any other region in the
yeah,
world by a wide margin. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, that's very true. And to get them excited, you kind of have to keep exceeding the standard in certain things. Like, because LCS is such a disappointment. Like, adding a second team at MSI, I mean, that's cool. It's gonna be fun for like other regions, but for us, like mentally, I just go, okay, that's two teams that get smacked. Like that's essentially what I think. Like,
Yeah. I
and
to be honest, when they announced the MSI 2 seeds, I wasn't even thinking about our second team going in. I was just thinking about how nice it's going to be to watch like the play-in stage where things will actually be competitive there, and then obviously like the later
sure,
portions of the bracket stage with everything else, like with the LPL teams, the LCK teams in Europe. Like I'll be honest, I did not include us in that thought process of why double elim is
yep,
great. Like we're just it doesn't help us necessarily when we're not at that level right now.
no, because we're already trying to fluke our way into a title. Like them making it harder to fluke just makes it harder to pull it off, essentially. Like, because double elim's not bailing us out; it's more bailing out China, I'd say, and like
Yeah.
Korea.
Oh yeah.
With each other. Like EU and NA are just getting hosed by it more than anything. But that's kind of life, I guess. They is going to be interesting though. Like I don't know. The rest of the year now is kind of like a odd, dark path. It started bad
Yeah.
now, so it's really curious where it goes from here. Because I mean, realistically, it's one of those situations where it should be like there's nowhere to go but up. That's what it should be. But like with how bad it started, it could be like there's a lot more down to go.
Oh, there's a lot more down to go. If 100 Thieves is laying off people, there's going to be people from every org that get laid off this year.
Yep.
All of them. And it's
TSM
like,
already started last year, didn't they?
yeah, and I think some people from G2 got laid off today as well. Like, we are nowhere close to done with the financial reckoning that has to happen with esports as a whole. The only positive that I think you look at here and like your shining beacon of light is weirdly enough global Riot Esports. They're the only profitable segment out of all of this. And they're making positive changes on top of that, which hopefully will be able to help them or enhance their monetization even further and possibly distribute some even more money to teams. And maybe try and develop some additional revenue streams, but they're already profitable, so I'm not sure
Yeah.
how important that is for them. The biggest problem they have is just everything else collapsing underneath them because the LCS is in shambles. The LCK is struggling financially. Uh, Europe is just Europe, and
Yeah,
then
I was gonna say that.
I don't know.
LCK is like Like from what I've been reading, they're in a pickle. Quite the pickle. Like
Yeah, because they
it's
were.
not looking good.
I don't want to call them dumb by any means, but like they spent a stupid amount of money to win. And it's
Yeah.
like, how much does that win actually get you? Like,
It
what
looks
what
like in
value does it drive you?
we're literally getting to the point where like it's almost to the issue where China's gonna be the only thing left. Because they're the only region with one, the cash to just keep flowing,
Yeah,
and two, like they have a lot of fans, like a stupid amount of fans. They were probably, I mean, they were trying to sell out arenas in America, and America's super far from them. So
yep.
it's like, especially New York City, like when they were going there and they were just owning the whole block, like that's kind of crazy. Like, because New York City is about as far away as you can get, isn't it? Like realistically, yeah, it is. Like it's literally as far as you could get America-wise. Like
Oh yeah.
it might
Well,
not be like actually perfect,
but
but it's
we also have the highest Chinese
super hard to get
population
there.
density in the entire United States. So
That is a good point. That's a good point.
the
Yeah.
the bigger problem though that I'm not sure how you solve is just how do you make money off of this, off of esports?
I mean,
Because
you do it the way Europe is doing it, not like actual LEC. Like you do it the way
EU Masters,
I'll
yeah,
rephrase, a couple of teams are doing it. Yeah. Like right now Koi and I forget them.
K Corp.
What's their name? K-Core, yeah. K-Core, Koi, and probably who's the other one? Heretics. Those are the three I can think of that will actually have a way of becoming profitable. Like there is an avenue that they could take that I think a lot of orgs don't have that avenue, and that's that they started out as, hey, our players will stream. Like that's essentially what they do. They're like, our players will stream, our organization will stream. We'll do our own watch parties, we'll do our own stuff. We will make this bigger. Like, but you have to feed it through you, and you have to
Yeah,
like get people to buy into the org kind of like because K-Core losing Reckless hasn't killed them. Like they still
no,
pull pretty big numbers from what I've been seeing.
yeah,
And
and they found a way to
yeah,
monetize a local fan base. They can
yep,
host events, they can sell merch, they can do the things that traditional sports teams do that esports just can't figure out because they get stuck in the online model. And to the point in chat of, do I think NA franchising their teams has hindered NA? Yes and no. Let's not act like pre-franchising everything was okay. The reason why we franchised was to try and stop the bleeding of excessive spending. It allowed
hmm
teams to take those periods to cut back and reduce some spending so you don't have to be the like it put it somewhat of an artificial cap on how much money you had to spend so long as you were in the league. And you didn't have the risk of losing your investment overnight.
yep,
You slowly bled out over the course of 6 years because you were in
yep,
there. But like franchising didn't hinder NA. What hindered NA, what hinders all of esports is that we have no way to monetize. Sponsorships will never ever fully pay your rent as an esports org. You need to have other sources of revenue, and media rights, as Chibe pointed out in his video, which I'm glad he did, are gone. Like the value of why do you think people pay so much for the NFL? It's not like they're profitable.
yep,
NFL or Fox and CBS both lose money on the NFL, but they do it because it's the best advertising on television. You can guarantee the largest amount of lead in to other programming for audience deficiencies, and it just gets people on your market or on your channel. People tune into CBS, so then you can put other stuff there. It conditions them to do so. But the NFL itself, no amount of money that they're generating on that is enough. The Super Bowl
yep.
itself, I believe, is. You generate enough ad dollars from the Super Bowl to to handle or to be able to handle it, and that's packaged in with the
Yep.
deal. But like Sunday, CBS and Fox is not. But people
Because
still
boomers are
pay.
about to override YouTube TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like for the LCS, like what are you paying for the LCS for?
Nothing.
What do you need to get? What if you're YouTube or Twitch? Why do you need to give $8 million, $10 million a year to them when you could give that money to somebody like, oh, I don't know, Ludwig, who guarantees a bigger audience with a better lead into other things than the LCS can?
Yep. See, if the LCS, I think what would have been interesting is if they would have, with their media rights deal, I know teams would have hated it, but they would have had to work it out in revenue sharing. They should have been selling player streams as well, like player streaming
Oh
rights.
yeah.
Like when you combine that with the league, then I think you make good money. Now you'd have to force players streaming, which does suck. I get it. Some people don't want to keep grinding the game, but the thing is about LCS, and Tom Shu said it earlier, was like it's really hard to get 18 to 24-year-olds to make money off them, and it is because it's not a super rich demographic. But the NFL was at that time too, where boomers were not watching the NFL. Young people were watching the NFL, and they kept that audience. And that's what LCS was supposed to do, but they kind of blew their load way too quick. Like they sat there, they overpaid, they wanted the big contract numbers, they wanted sources, they wanted an Adam Schefter when they had no business needing Adam Schefters in the space. And it shows, like now they have no way of making money on us when we're all at 25. I mean, a lot of us are hitting our 25 to 30 range where we have money to spend, and they're not doing a rotating show. They're not showing up to your city. They're demanding you fly to LA if you want to watch on a weekend, which is kind of unreasonable if you're married. Like it's not super easy to just convince your wife to buy a
Hey, I'm gonna go
$400
to
plane
LA
ticket.
for a weekend.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to LA for the weekend, watch LCS, and fly home. You cool with that? They'll probably say, "I want to come too," and then all of a sudden it becomes a $2,000 trip,
Yep.
like for 3 days, and that's just not feasible. And then,
I was waiting for
oh
that
yeah,
comment.
Con
I
is
was waiting
right.
for no. When you said it, it went off in my mind. I was like, he thinks he's flying on a weekend. Nice.
Yeah, Con is right. Hey, but realistically, let's be honest, those days you'd fly now, those are the cheaper days.
They
LCS took
are,
it out for the little
but
guy.
tickets aren't even on sale, so you can't even go yet.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's awkward. Chalk that up to the announcement sheet where we don't respond to it. But
Uh,
but like you're supposed to survive until you get to that area where your younger audience has money and then can start pouring it in. Of course, 25 to 30-year-olds are insanely rich, and I understand they're not pouring a ton of money. But the idea is that they show the experiences with their friends, they slowly gain it. Your audience continues to gradually get older as time goes on, and you have this self-sustaining system. But they skipped all of that, and now we're at the point where 25 to 30-year-olds aren't going to pay money to go watch a dying league. Like, I'm going to save up my money to go to what? The college football playoff, maybe, or the March Madness, or like legacy sports are kind of getting back in priority. And
yep.
it's not because we don't love league like a lot of us do. It's just that I can tell like a lot of fans are going back to their legacy sports.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cause
The NFL is doing better in the last 2 years than it has in a long time.
yep. And it's like it's sad for them. Like I think basketball is slowly gonna figure it out again whenever they can get out of these media rights deals they have. Because once they can start putting their games back on like actual places and making them watchable, people will buy back in. But right now you have to pay like 17 a month for one channel to watch just your team, and it's unreal. I just want to put that complaint out there for the NBA if they're listening. But Riot, if Riot can like, I don't know how they do it now, or I don't know how they, other than what they're doing essentially, which is layoffs, like layoffs and lowering salaries. but it has been funny reading the players like make jokes about the league minimums being as small as
Yeah.
they are and saying like I'm not gonna take league minimum. It's like,
Like, what the
buddy, you
fuck are you
might.
doing for driving
Yeah.
value? Like, what?
Yeah, I was like, buddy, you might be taking the league minimum. I was like, that's not to be offensive, that's not to be rude, and that's not to say that it's a hard way to live, but buying Jordans might not be on the list of things you get to do if you want to play league for a living, and you're gonna work way more hours than you should for the money you're getting, and that's just kind of life at this point. Like,
Okay, so this brings up
league isn't a cash cow.
this brings up a phenomenal point that G-Bay said in his video that Khan has mentioned in chat now, and I think it's worth addressing, of choosing content creation over esports in North America. Because that's where the freaking money is. And there is no prestige at all in being an LCS player. There is prestige in being an LCK player, but we as a community have completely shattered the value of being an LCS pro. In addition to the fact that there's obviously little monetization with it, players have stopped streaming. Why have they stopped streaming? Because they quote need to scrib more and need to practice more because we bitch at them for not performing on an international level. Because we only care about world's results, MSI results, etc. So then people would rather see us do well there than see a player stream. Well, guess what happens then? We don't have any content. So what does that do? That bumps up the content creators because they're more entertaining to watch. It means that they have
Yep.
more money that can drive towards them.
Yeah.
Like, it's a never-ending cycle that it's like, yeah, of course, we're gonna choose content creation right now over esports. Why the fuck would I want to work 16 hours a day grinding the game of League of Legends to just be told when I go on stage, you're fucking trash. You're just gonna get mopped at Worlds. When I could play half the hours, make probably double the money if I'm at that skill level, and be perfectly fine. You're better off playing 5 Twitch Rivals events before a single week in the LCS in terms of your financial stability for your career.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong, and I hate how much I agree with that, but it's like there is no reason for him to. Like, I don't even know, cause my thing is it really is just like low key. It's that Asian culture diff. Like when you look at just the grind that their pro players do. Like I was watching Boogie stream the other day, and the dude has this new thing he's doing where he sleeps on a mat, like in between games. Literally, when he waits in queue, he lays down on a mat, closes his eyes, and then when the queue pops, he clicks it, and he has a wireless mouse, and he doesn't get off the mat until the loading screen finishes. Like he literally is laying on the floor on a mat with a pillow, staring at his screen, picking his ruse, locking in his chip, and then getting up and sitting in the chair and playing the game. They're like diehards of League of Legends, like psychos. And I'm not saying like our side needs to do that now, because now's not the time. It's too late.
Nope. Yeah,
It's
way
more
too
that
late.
like that's what they were doing. Like Doumbé is a great dynamic of like he's still raking in huge numbers in China, and he was a pro, and he's getting that. He's getting those results of like he can get paid doing either. Bjergsen early in his career would stream a lot, quit doing it the longer he did it, and I don't blame him. He probably would have burned out or something. But if he would have kept streaming, he could have had either option his whole life. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's probably still there if he became a streamer. I'm sure he'd be great at it or figure it out. But
Nah, I want to fight this comment that Khan said in chat. I will forever disagree. The fact that NA server quality is so low on both sides and paying for the average player makes it so hard to create the best habits. I don't give a fuck. That's not changing, so stop talking about it. Like I don't mean to call you out. I'm not trying to be harsh on this, but like we are never changing our server size. We are not changing the ping problem anytime soon. That it's not a problem worth discussing ever. That it's like we have such bigger issues regarding the culture than the small things. Yes, we could fix the small things and that would be nice, but they're not ultimately going to be the say in a world where we fix the ping and we fix the size, sure, but what fixes the size? What fixes the size is actual interest in the damn game and the culture problem that feeds into it. The size is a byproduct.
Yeah, because I mean, there are players like, doesn't Vulcan stream quite a bit though during the regular
Yeah.
season? Yeah, and Vulcan, like, he's starting to build his own fan base, which is kind of nice. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're in this awkward gray area almost as a region where it's like we wanted to be the just fun like streamer region, but it's nobody decided to stream. Like a lot of players just quit streaming, so it quit being that. Like, and I'm not gonna lie, I think orgs did a bad job of
Oh, piss poor job.
retention of fans.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a when I said like you gotta make your player stream and blah blah blah, like there is that idea too of the people fall in love with the player instead of the team. And that is one thing as an organization of any sport, doesn't matter what you're talking about. You have to figure out how to not let that happen. That is your like main job, to figure out how to not let that happen. And esports orgs were way too brand new and they did not have anybody capable of figuring that out.
Nope.
Like the only thing that keeps esport orgs afloat at this point is if they win or not. To be honest, like winning is the like when I always make the joke winning solves all problems, and I say that on here all the time, but literally that's the only thing solving problems for esport orgs right now. Like
Yep.
unless you're winning and unless you have really good players who carry the org, like for some reason they just can't figure out how to transition. I think Cloud9 is okay at it. Like they seem to be good at it, but they've also not sucked. So it's really like I can't test if they're doing a good job at just winning or if they're doing a good job at fan retention. Like TSM clearly, well, they did a good job at the start of keeping people,
Yep.
but like eventually you suck long enough, people leave, and that's life. But they I wouldn't say they did perfect. They did not good enough, for being honest, and CLG didn't either. Like both of them dropped the ball
Yep.
on that. And that's one thing like that really hurts LCS, but I
I
don't know.
it's such a dark path, all things considered. I mean, I'm curious to see.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Well,
or no, I mentioned this yesterday, but Travis is going to be interviewing and talking to the heads of LoL Esports, talking about the format changes, but also talking about the LCS. And that has to be a like you have to bring that up of
for sure.
just addressing as much as it might suck. How does North America become a sustainable region long term? How do you get like at this point? I'm willing to say, just go all about entertainment. Pivot. I know the chat said we've tried it and didn't work. No, we didn't fully try it. We ultimately, at the end, we still are a region that lives or dies by international results. We have players sitting here telling you that Spring Split doesn't matter, Worlds is the only thing that matters, etc., etc. I, when that's the case, we're never gonna do shit. You're never gonna be able to drive value for the LCS as an individual product. You're never gonna be able to make it entertaining enough for people to just tune in on a consistent basis. You are better off watching Tyler One. You have to add value to the LCS. And if competition in its altruistic form is not going to be the case because we still meme on NA Jace and NA Fiora, etc., just lean into it at this point. Be the entertaining region. We don't have to be the best, but if we have everybody watching us, why the fuck does anything else matter? I would love to be able to look at the LPL and LCK and just rub it in their face and be like, look, you might be able to kick our ass on the Rift, but take $100 and shut up. and just start throwing money at their face and be like, we're the most profitable league. Why? Because people actually want to watch us. And we don't even have to win to do it. Fuck you. Like, that's what I'd love
Yeah,
to say to them. But we can't because we have nobody that's willing to be entertaining.
it's true. I mean, like, I'm trying to think of like a soccer analogy for that kind of, but I can't really think of one. Like, there's like, cause there's like all those, you know what I mean, like leagues that
Yeah.
fight and usually lose in the UCL, but they just make so much money that they're just like, screw it, who cares? Like people watch this back home, because it's almost what League of Legends is in a way. It's like just club soccer, but the only issue is like we didn't really do a great job of like promoting our clubs, I'd say in a sense. So our clubs look bad, and then in return, we don't really do much to fix it. Like, and now it's getting to the point where the game isn't pushing itself on its own, and it seems like without the game doing all the work by itself, the current people in charge don't know how to fix it.
Yep.
Like without League just doing its thing and popping off and making people money, they have no idea how to just take it and turn a profit. But Fudge tried to have personality and the community screeched at him. I don't know, saying fuck the fans wasn't really a personality in my opinion.
I think it can be if there's a
Like,
counterpoint. Because you think about it,
no,
there's
yeah, but I'm saying like being like, hey, all of you who blah 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 after you win a title going, I still hate some of you. A lot of you actually. Like a lot of you still suck. That's not like a personality. I'm shocked he didn't get buy-in actually. I'm shook that that didn't get buy-in from the fans. Like that's just like yeah. Like it was his own people too.
like I think Fudge's personality like that would have done better if there's somebody else that's willing to call him out and just like
Well, I mean, yeah.
be the anti-hero or be the if Fudge is going to be the villain
No, like,
and embrace that role, somebody needs to come in and be the hero. Or just like the
yeah,
you know,
he
try
does
and
need a
play yeah, you
sidekick.
need somebody to counteract that for it to
Yeah,
truly be entertaining. But when that's the only personality you have and the only person that's out there other than Vulcan who is similar in a way, it's like, okay, well great, we got nothing.
yeah, because I mean, other than that, like that I know like reducing his entire personality that isn't a real argument, but that's like kind of what his personality is known for is trash talking in a sense. Like that's kind of what he does a lot of. And Doublelift does that too, but Doublelift does it a lot better in my opinion in keeping fan engagement.
Yeah.
Like with the way Fudge did it, you never actually turn on your own people. Like even if they turn on you, which is going to happen in sports, happens all the time. Players have fake fans, and nowadays that players have Twitter, they're a lot more vocal about, kind of talking back to the fans, and I get it, but picking to do it after you won a championship kind of screams like, and I don't mean this in like the funny way. I mean like seriously, like it screams rent free. Like it feels like those people bothered you so much, or at least that you still want to trash talk back to your own people after
Yeah.
winning. Like you did, I don't really know. Like trash talking after winning it all isn't really a thing people do a ton of. Like I can't think of a time it really popped in my head off the bat. I'm sure it has, and it does. I just can't think of a time it really popped.
I know of times that like athletes have said like fuck the haters. But like I
Yeah,
cannot think of a time ever in sports history where like somebody has called out fans of their own city after
yeah,
winning it all. After a
yeah,
loss, I've seen it, yes, but I don't think I've ever seen after winning it all.
yeah. Like winning it all was the part to me that was just weird. Like just not normal. I mean, and it makes him easy to just not watch, to be honest. Like if you're somebody else, just like that's kind of funny, and then you keep going on with your day. But it's like other than that, like I don't really know of any. Like Blabber's not really a personality, I guess, in the league.
No.
Uh, JoJo, I think, is like a good upcoming, like he has a good mix of trash talk and when to work it in and when to say like, hey, we need to step it up type stuff. Vulcan's pretty good at it too. I think
Beyond that,
Berserker is hilarious.
he is. He
I
just needs
think
to be more vocal.
yeah, but it's hard to speak in a different region.
Yeah.
Like I think Berserker is who their marketing should focus on more than anything. Like
I would agree. I'm curious. Have you seen everything? Well, you watch the NFL. I don't know why I'm even asking you, but for chat, have you seen everything going on with the Detroit Lions in the last 3 days? It's amazing how quickly you can make a brand just by having a unique personality.
yeah,
I cannot get his player introduction out of my head. First swag Kazakage, leader of the hidden village of the Dean. Freaking
I mean
hilarious.
the Lions are also just a hilarious team.
They are, but it's just like God, that's its personality that contradicts.
It
It's like
is.
it is not normal to see a weeb in the NFL,
Yep.
which is great.
Who
And it's like
also broke one of Barry Sanders' records. I
yeah,
might add.
it's like also stupidly good. And it's
Yeah.
like oh yeah, the Pokemon clip and then like the clip of him afterwards too, like after the game crying because he was, really happy of sharing his moment that he did for his grandfather, but then immediately flipping into, but don't you think for 1 second that these tears mean that we're weak? We got that dog in us. And it's like, dude, I love you. Holy shit, you're great. It's like,
There's some good stuff.
where's that personality? Like, where's that fire? We need that somewhere in the LCS.
I
Sven
mean,
is
I
doing a
think
good
JoJo
job
is
of
the
that.
one with it.
JoJo's doing good as well. Sven, I will say, has been great on the banter.
Sven has been really good on Banter, but he's always been good.
Yeah.
Even when he did that height one.
Yeah,
Like he's
that
always
was
been pretty
great.
good. That was fantastic.
Came back to
He's
bite him in
always
the
been
ass,
really good.
but
And that's the thing though. He's still good though, even if it doesn't work.
yeah.
He knows how to play it off. He's pretty good at that. And that's I think what we're missing is like those dudes who play it off well. Like I think JoJo plays it off well and Sven plays it off well. I mean if DL starts winning on 100 Thieves, he kind of plays it off well,
Oh,
but Doublelift at times can be a little too like I don't know. He gets in his own head, but he's pretty good
yeah.
about it.
I'm curious to see how the 100 Thieves fandom treats him after today. See if this has any residual impacts.
I
But
don't
we'll
really
see.
think they'll care
I think
unless they lose.
I think the 100 Thieves fan base is a little bit more like a little bit more in touch with their org than they are Doublelift. So there's gonna be like obviously the Doublelift fans will be they'll just be Doublelift fans, but like I'm curious if it creates any division because I saw quite a few people pissed off earlier, but I don't know if that will have any tangibility to it. But yeah, LCS does have no baby face now that you say it. Danny was supposed to be that baby face. Which, thinking back on it, was exactly why. Is Paul frozen? Did Paul lag out? Yeah, I think Paul lagged out, but he'll be back. I think that you're right. The reason why why Danny was so good was because he had that element of like we are like he's the good guy and Jojo Pune's the trash talker. Like the two of them would bounce off each other. But then we like learned that, Danny actually does shit talk a good bit. I don't know. LCS Reckless Caps Odo. And that Reckless Caps and Odo serve as like the good guys. The antithesis to what Perks and Alfari are and like the villains, the bad boys of the league. You have that dynamic between all of them that can bounce off of each other. And you just don't ugh. I don't know. We're really getting into the weeds of it. Like really, really into the weeds. I'm just curious, and we'll wrap this up whenever Paul. Oh, there he is. Internet die on you?
I guess my like verification ran out
Huh.
on
That's
my hotel Wi-Fi, so it kicked me off.
well, that's odd.
Yeah, I've never had that happen before, but that was funny. Um, but yeah, I guess a personality could help. But the thing is, at the end of the day, like, I don't know, personality is like so far on the back burner.
It is we
that
really got in a rabbit hole.
I know we did. Like, it's so far on the back burner that it's like I'm not even like I don't even know. It's so just whatever. I mean, at this point, we're begging for a hero. Like,
We're begging for a miracle. That is for
yeah,
certain. Because Valorant's got every bit of momentum on their side, and we've got. I don't know. I
yeah,
don't. I have
something
no. I have no
somewhere.
clue what we have going for us at the moment. We have Arcane. We have a whole. I will say we have a whole. We have it. We legitimately do have a universe that is more well thought out than anything else that exists in gaming. And that's our strong side that we have for other content. But the problem is that doesn't translate well in game because the game is so far different from the actual characters that you see on TV.
Yeah,
And it's been proven that lore does not monetize well in the game of League of Legends so far. I don't know.
you would have to. Well, I just read the to have like allow players to have personalities. You need to retrain fans in devaluing worlds for NA orgs.
Well, I mean, yeah, we said that earlier.
That's one we've touched on, yeah, quite a bit.
You
All I'm
have
saying
to.
in the past too, like
You have to.
that is.
You have worlds cannot be it.
It
Because
is a sad, sad way.
I don't know. What do you think they announce in the next 3 days?
Um,
Do they announce anything?
trying to think. I don't think they announce much the next 3 days. I don't think they feel like they need to. I think they just let it be. They've taken it on the shins enough, you know. I think sometimes you get tired of taking it on the shins.
I know. I mean, ultimately, I, I came to this conclusion earlier. It's like as much as I was pissed off about the cinematic, it ultimately doesn't matter all that much because I'm still gonna play the game. Like I'm not one of those people that is affected by or like the cinematic being good or not doesn't impact whether I'm gonna play ranked or whether I'm gonna play the low budget LCS or anything like else like that. I'm still gonna do it because there is literally there's no other game that fills the void or that fills the itch that League of Legends does.
True.
And I don't see that changing anytime soon. Because I don't know if MOBAs are ever gonna be a upcoming genre in NA ever again, unless you find a way to bridge the gap between console and PC and make a game that is playable for everybody in that regard.
Hmm.
But even then, I
That's
don't know
true.
how. So League will always sit in that spot. Genshin Impact, no, don't, absolutely not.
I think it's just a case of like I'm kind of curious what the bottom is for League. Like, will a bottom come? That is my question.
The weird thing though is like even a bottom for League is still like better than a bottom for most other games. Like that's the weird part is like the game is
It
so
is.
popular elsewhere that like it could literally die and be entirely dead in North America. Like not a single soul plays it. Yet it will still be the biggest esport in the world.
It's true.
Like that is so weird to think about. Like
That
I
is
don't
actually super true.
Yeah, like we're like bottoming out in North America, but like, what does that ultimately mean on the grand scheme of things? Nothing. Because so long as the game's doing well in Korea and China, then it's all irrelevant. And every person here is gonna watch Arcane season 2, even if we all stop playing League of Legends.
Well, I mean, time to give people bad financial. So I would say, I mean, the bottom's in, people. You've heard it here first. Bottom's in.
Invest,
Buy Riot stock.
buy it. It's only up from here.
It's only up from here. Buy Riot stock. There's actually a Riot stock on the stock market, but it's like some fake
Yeah,
blockchain company. Yeah. So I'm gonna try to get people to buy it by the end of the year. I think I can get a couple. But you should buy. You should be buying Riot stock
We
because
are
at this
not
point we've
we
hit
are
the
not
bottom.
pumping and dumping on this podcast.
Well, I just have to say not financial advice at the end, and I'm fine.
Not morally.
It's not a
Legally,
pump and dump if I don't own it.
are you not going to own it? Exactly.
No.
Exactly. Sure. No, I know you. Bullshit.
I'm not gonna buy it.
Paul.
If I could buy LCS team stock, I would. Can't you
If-
buy 100 Thieves or something?
No,
Or
all
no,
their
is it
shares.
FaZe?
No, all their shares are private. I think FaZe is the only one. FaZe,
need FaZe.
Luminosity.
I want FaZe. I want FaZe stock now.
I actually own FaZe stock.
Aren't they about to go through a lot of turmoil though?
Yeah, I bought it when it was like $15, and I was like, we're gonna see how this rides out. I figured, fuck it, it's $15. I can.
They called me Nick in the chat.
Yeah,
I don't
You look-
care. I'm
you
fine.
look like
I
a
know
Nick.
what you all meant by that. It's sad. You know what's sad is that they put Nick, are you trying to go to jail? And I knew they were talking to me.
Yep.
Like I knew who Khan was talking to. Exactly who he was talking to when he said that. I was like, yeah, I mean, but do you want me to pick the subtopic?
Oh yeah, we gotta do subtopic and then we'll do draft.
Okay.
Good call.
I already had a subtopic I liked.
All right, let's do it.
I decided I'm not gonna go back to later weeks. I'm just gonna live and let live with what I get. I actually like this one. Like it's pretty good. And I guess we've kind of already talked about it a little bit, but it was is Riot taking on too many projects? Because they have League, TFT, Valorant, Wild Rift, Legends of Runeterra, and future projects like the MMO and a fighter game. That also doesn't include any music that they have planned in smaller games they want to make like Rune King or Hextech Mayhem. This also doesn't include the second season of Arcane that they're working on. It just seems like too much for me.
Shout out to Bazball for the take.
Yep.
Subscriber, thank you very much.
Great take.
I personally don't believe so. I don't think that they're stretching any resources thin. They just hire more people and work on the projects because clearly they're becoming profitable. And you expand your portfolio and you do other stuff. Like as Colin said in chat, diversifying is really good and incredibly important for your sustainability, not only as a company, but just for the general creativity within your company.
I think like the way I look at it is I think it's not, maybe it's not taking on too many, but I think they're just diversifying really poorly. Like they seem to be doing a bad job of moving. The thing that they're doing that's killing them the most is not moving the smaller guys. It's moving those heads. Like when you're moving Ghostcrawler to a different project, or you're moving like somebody who's large in your industry and you need them to take on something else, that can really shift a game. Like Ghostcrawler does great things, and that's why they put him on the MMO, because the MMO is probably going to be incredible. But League as a whole, or I guess League of Legends, the base game that made them popular, has taken a massive hit since he's left. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just been obvious through quality, and especially coming with the people or the job cuts they had to have during COVID and all that, it is definitely catching up. I mean, I liked the topic because I was kind of like, yeah, maybe they're not too diversified, but it definitely seems like they're a little in over their head at how to manage their diversification.
I see it's tough though to balance that because it's like
For sure. It's
the
true.
first and foremost, let's address the what do they call it, the Q Dodge program that Riot gave, which Khan just mentioned. So what happened was during COVID, after the sexual assault allegations and everything else happened there, they extended a program that already existed where after 6 months of the company or within your first 6 months, you could leave and get a certain part of your salary as severance. Because they don't want to penalize you if you don't like the job. It is what it is. Then you can find a job elsewhere and no problem. It's actually a phenomenal program. But they gave it to everybody in the company as a one-time thing. And a lot of people left. A lot. And what's going to happen there is the people that are affected by that Q Dodge program are more of your legacy employees. The people that have been with Riot for a while and likely are working on League of Legends because it's an older product that has more legacy employees. Unlike Valorant, unlike TFT, etc., who all have employees that are going to be more likely to be in that window, barring some of the heads, like say a Nightcrawler or somebody of that status who might have swapped progress or projects. But they are able to, like, you're going to disproportionately lose more people in League of Legends to that than any other game. On top of the fact that everybody already wants to work on Valorant because it's the new hot thing, and bringing in people for League is going to be tougher. It's just like it's naturally going to happen. And then Riot, you would think Riot as a corporate entity is smart enough to handle themselves in a Disney-like manner where individual projects have their own individual weight. And as much as you want to say that one game's going to get ignored, I do not believe that because I'm telling you, individual entities do not get ignored no matter how small they are at big corporations. That is just a misconception that people have. Sure, Valve might have done it, but I'm telling you, Riot gives just as much of a shit about League of Legends as they do Valorant, as they do Wild Rift, and everything else around it. Like, that's going to be big.
And I like what you used, like saying like the challenges part, everyone wants to hop to Valorant or something else. Like, it's very true. Like, people, even if it's not like, even if it's not too much, like the point originally stated, it's like that when most of your good guys at building those cinematics and the cinematics that we've seen in the past get offered Arcane, how are they going to say no?
Yeah.
They're going to want to go try to do Arcane, and they're going to be excited, and you're going to lose really quality workers, but that's not a bad thing. That just means that your company is getting stronger in other areas, which is always good for the company. It's fantastic for the company, and it can bring problems for the consumer at times because you have to give the new people time to mold and get used to the idea of the job and find their area. The only thing that sucks is that Riot is a gaming company. They're an entertainment company. So when an entertainment company has any issues at all, it's a huge deal. Like, it just is. Same thing with Disney, where you were like, when Disney World's quality went down with Bob Chapek, people were loud. They were super loud.
I for very obvious reasons cannot
you can't
comment
talk.
on
Well, yeah, don't comment.
anything Disney.
Don't comment. I'm a Disney fanatic, you know that. So
you go ahead. You can
why
talk.
when
I'm
you
just gonna sit
mentioned it.
here.
But it's just, yeah, my bad. I shouldn't even talk about Disney.
No,
Probably.
you can talk about whatever you want. I just have to make the
Yeah.
disclosure. Mickey Mouse. I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, but like when, I mean, I guess, well, I want you to be able to talk to. That's the point of this
No, it's
whole
fine.
thing. But I was thinking of something, trying to think of something else. Like, even, what would it be like? The implementation of let's think. What's something big that like recently dropped a ball? Like, or like moved on from somebody.
I have one in my
don't
head
know.
that I can't talk about.
Well, I could talk about when Bob Iger coming back is one of those things where it's like, hey, he wanted to go try something new, right? Like somebody must try something new, and he goes, he does it, he gets bored of it or doesn't like what he's trying, and he comes back and I'm gonna assume he knocks it out of the parks the next few months, getting back to what people like, which I want to be clear he already has, because he's bringing back shows and removing things that people hate about the parks. And he did that within like 2 months of being there, but it's a big company, so I assume these have been months in the work. And these decisions weren't just made because he got the job, but they were just moved along quicker. And that's things that like at Riot could happen. Like this cinematic, right? Maybe the guy who was doing it first and usually did the season change cinematics, he had the system down. He knew when to put in for the project. He knew what projects would need one amount of time. The current guy kind of got lost in it, kind of got behind whoever was doing it, and they weren't ready for the studio to call him and say, "Hey, we can't be ready for that. Like,
Yep.
it's not going to happen." And that shows sometimes, especially in big businesses with full-on entertainment. It's just how it is. Like entertainment studios don't play games, and the reason they don't play games and they're always innovating and they're always moving quick and their diversity is so big is because people get bored. And if you don't have the next thing, people are going to move on with or without you.
Yep.
So that's why Valorant is probably getting, I'm not going to say more love or it's a bigger deal than League, but it might be getting a little more love because they got to make money somehow.
It also matters because we're in North America where that is going to be seen more. We are an FPS region. Valorant is eventually coming to console, which is going to impact an even larger player base. So it's like, yeah, it makes sense as to why that's talked about more here. But nah, look, I not speaking on uh not speaking on anything with current employers, but I'll speak to past with Peloton, with CBS. Uh, there's a lot. It is so hard to fight against the perception that one thing is being favored over another, just because everything is going right for one of them in the moment. And as you like, kind of going back to one thing you said, where it's like it takes people time to adjust. Yeah, it takes about 2 years to adjust. I think we're right in the middle of the period where everybody that's new to their role is learning the hard mistakes that will inevitably shape the future of League of Legends in a positive manner. And that's an important lesson that a lot of people have to learn. A lot of companies have to learn and individuals within them have to learn. Like it's the changing of the guard is never smooth. Ever.
No.
And in a situation here where you have a direct competing product internally, it's even harder. So I get the perception that Valorant is getting more love. It from the visual eye, it is. I'm just saying, and I don't expect anybody to believe me. You're entitled to your own opinion, but internally, I can guarantee you League is still getting a lot of love. It just may not be more obvious than Valorant because Valorant's progressing at a lot quicker of a rate. And as Khan said, you can learn from the mistakes of League. Think about how many things would already be changed with League if we had a new client built from the ground up. That's a mistake that Riot learned as League being their first fucking game. But now that they learned, like, okay, we better do this right from the start so that we give ourselves a good foundation to build upon rather than just trying to rush this out because it's a for fun passion project. It's different. Different circumstances that lead to different results. It would like as much as they say it's not going to happen, it would not surprise me in the slightest if we got a League of Legends 2 at some point that just rebuilds the game from the ground up.
Yep.
I really would not be surprised because there's so many issues that you have to try and fix.
And it's Yeah, that's really all I got. Like thinking about the original topic, like that's kind of all I have.
Yeah.
That just takes time. I mean, are they very diversified currently? Yes. Is there growing pains? Yeah. But you kind of have to be diversified in any market, and I think they're just trying to keep making as much money as they can. Can't blame them.
As they have to be in a capitalist society that's in late stage capitalism. But that's a macroeconomic topic that I don't think
That you are allowed to talk about.
that I am allowed to talk about. But I don't think it's worth getting into because economics bores the shit out of people and it gets very political very quick. And I'm not trying to get political. So
It does. It does.
Thank you, Basketball, for the topic. It was a really good one. Like, I really love these conversations. I wish I could say more and relate to stuff, but unfortunately,
That's
my
just
hand-
like the first company that came to my mind, but that's because I'm a fanatic.
Well, it's also true though, because like without speaking on Disney, Riot is trying to become Disney. They're
Yeah, I mean,
like
who
they're
wouldn't be in the entertainment
exactly,
empire? Yeah.
exactly. That's the point. It's like
Who
that's
wouldn't wanna be?
the goal. So
They're a monolith essentially. Like they can do anything they want.
yep. I didn't think of anything because my mind has been distracted all day. Give me a good draft topic for us to draft on.
A good League of Legends draft topic for right
Yep.
now.
Yep.
Cinematics. Let's rank them.
There's not enough.
Fine. We aren't allowed to just sit here and start. I was gonna pick the newest one. That was why I said cinematics.
I hate you.
I was gonna first pick it, but
What about changes to
Oh
League of,
yeah,
like
you
the
did
top 10?
just do a video on it. Gosh dang.
Yeah, I did. What about the top 10 changes to have ever come to League of Legends?
That would be a good one.
Is there anything else that I'm not
Wait,
thinking
I'm going
about?
through. I want to look at our topics and see. Oh,
I'm
we
down for
haven't-
a completely random for fun one as well.
we haven't done Giga Chad Daddy Champs.
Fine, we're doing that. Just because I want it to be a little bit later. The top 10 Giga Chad Daddy champs. This is something. Let me tell you what.
You never get first pick. I'm giving you first pick this week.
Oh, I don't want first pick. This one I actually don't want first pick because I need.
You don't want it at all?
I'm not good with this type of question. Never have been.
I'm giving you first pick. Don't mess it up.
Oh, fine, I'll go first pick. Oh,
Don't. There's one obvious person you better take.
No. I don't know. It's
Because
a
if
lot
you
of
don't,
pressure.
I get him, and you're gonna be so upset if I get him. With the second pick.
I can't.
Don't mess this up.
I don't
Don't
know.
look at chat. Don't look
I'm
at
not.
chat.
I'm not looking at chat. I'm not looking at chat.
You want me to go first?
No, I feel like I have to go first because you gave it to me. Oh, this is a really bad pick, but I'm gonna go Tarek.
Bro.
Oh, damn
Braum
it.
is a dad. Braum is literally a daddy champ. But Tarek is a Giga Chad. I mean, Tarek's a Giga Chad, but
That's the thing.
the difference is like, Braum is like dad. Like, you know, he's like my dad. He keeps me safe. He holds me. Tarek's like my, that's my dad. That's my
Well,
dad.
when I say daddy champs,
Yeah,
like
I
I'm
know.
thinking of that regard. Oh, god damn.
Braum was like who I thought was going first. 100%.
Um, I'm gonna go. I'm sticking with my theme. I'm going Viego.
I like that.
Viego is gonna tie you to the bed and do really bad things.
I'm taking Set.
Oh, that's a good one.
I feel like he'll pound your
Damn.
skull in. Brahm's a lover. Set's a fighter.
Okay, he's not technically of daddy age, but I feel like people will still call him daddy anyways. I'm going Aphelios.
Oh, that's an interesting pick.
A little bit darker, got the bad boy vibes going on. The
I'm
right
not sure
like
to go now.
the right crowd is 100% calling him daddy every day of the week.
Probably. I mean, yeah. Trying to think now. I really didn't have much planned out past this. Now I really have to think. Because you've kind of changed my idea. My vision of a Chad Daddy Champ was like a big, burly man. But you
Yeah.
brought some just dads into this who are like Chads at the same time. They're like, ooh.
My definition of daddy is definitely a little bit different than yours.
Because now you almost make me want to take. Well, I don't want to say him yet. I don't even know if he counts as one, but I'm trying to think. I have two I want to go, but I'm gonna take Darius for now.
Ooh, okay.
Darius will be like my bad boy, Giga Chad Daddy Champ, and Brahm's my good one.
Nah,
It's
Beast
between
Bob.
him or-
Aphelios is not the bottom. Aphelios is the one that you think is going to be the bottom, but then the second you get into the bedroom is like 100% like ruining your life. Undeniably. Darius isn't bad, but I'm going to go with another one that he might look. Wait, no, I don't think I can. It doesn't fit in with my theme. I'll say him because I think you're fine to pick him. Rakan was on my list of
Oh,
champs,
that's a good one.
Rakan's got real bot energy. So like
He does.
he's a golden retriever. He's not a daddy. He's a golden retriever. Aphelios brings 200 years of experience to the venture. Oh god. Okay. Male enchanters that have daddy energy. Garen's a goody two shoe. He's not making this list. Okay. For all of those with a degradation or degradation, I don't know, when you degrade somebody, if that's
Yeah.
your kink, Kane is the man for you.
Dang it.
Kane is
Well,
gonna force you to call you daddy and
so
then
I
spit
should have
right
took
in
him
your
last
face.
pick. Well, because I was gonna get even further. I was gonna say Blue Cane. Because Blue Cane has to literally tell Ross to go home. Blue
Yeah.
Cane's like you know what I mean? Shadow Cane is a dirty boy. He can come through your walls. Well, I don't know if he can come through your walls, but he can go through your walls.
Oh god, this is gonna make for a great TikTok video.
But who's another good Giga Chad Daddy Chip? I almost want to say him, but I'm not gonna say him because he's not like a human. Am I allowed to take not human champs? Is that weird?
Yeah. If they give off
Okay.
daddy energy, then yeah.
I just feel like Police Officer Volibear is an absolute dad, you know? Like beats you before he goes to work type dad.
Jesus Christ, Paul. Oh my god. That's horrible. That's horrible. Oh man.
What, the wee woo bowl bear? You don't like
No.
it?
Oh god, I just thought of one. And I hope I don't get in trouble for this. But there there's one guy that is so daddy that he already
Oh,
has
no.
he already has two other guys inside of him.
Oh.
I'm going Boris.
Oh my gosh. 'Cause- Oh, that's so bad. Oh no, I don't know where to go. Oh dear.
Why have
Well, it's
one
my
dad when you
picks.
could have three?
Oh my gosh. I guess I can think out loud because it's the last pick. But like, I kind of want to take Heisendog. Like
Wait,
Heimerdinger.
oh my, what?
But I'm not. I'm not. I was just saying, like, imagine that big old head smacking you.
Oh
But
my god.
I'm trying to think, cause Jace isn't a daddy. Like, he's just not.
No.
Jace feels like a kid.
Jace got flat out dominated by Mel as well in the series.
He did.
Like
He did,
Jace
that's
might
a
have
good
been on
point.
Jace might have been on top, but he was bottom bitch the entire time.
He was. Who's another good Giga Chad, like, daddy champ? That's not just a dead champion from the Shadow Isles. I almost want to combat your Cade one for the domination kink with Thresh.
Oh Jesus. That might not actually be bad.
I'm trying to think of one. Who's another like Giga Chad daddy champ? Oh, you know who's a good one that I would have never thought of until just now? I was going through the Shadow Isles. Graves.
True.
I'm taking Graves. That's my
True.
last one.
That's fair. He already has the comic with Twisted Fate as well.
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
I'm taking
Oh
Graves.
man. Chat, it's your turn. Who won the Giga Chad Daddy draft? Vote in chat now. This is the most insane draft we have ever had. Oh my god.
And don't worry, people. Next week is biggest Yiddies champs draft.
No, it is not.
Oh, never
No,
mind.
no, it is not. I
It's
do not
not.
like. I am fine. I'm fine with us talking about daddies. I do not want to be. I do not want to be in the position like.
I know.
Unless
know I'm
like
married.
unless we
I
have
always
a no, it's not
forget
even
that
it's
part.
not even the married thing. It's just like like if a female guest comes on and wants to do it, then fine. But I do not feel right being the one initiating that
It's fair.
conversation. Gragas? Oh yeah, that would have been interesting.
Fine. Oh, Olaf. How did I forget Olaf?
I don't know. I was going for a different vibe for my
You
champions,
were.
clearly.
You were. I should have taken Kane third. I didn't know you were gonna take Kane four. Like, I really didn't think you would.
I think my Varus comment wins it though.
Your Varus comma wins it for sure.
Oh god.
I wanted to take Shadow Kane. I wanted to like take Shadow Kane and be like, ooh. Like, but you took him. Jealous of that.
I have one hell of a boy band going on. Like a good
Why
My
is your
Chemical
list
Romance.
like have 3 of our mains on it?
Aphelios, Varus, Viego, Kane. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
4 technically. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you're a Aphelios. Do you play Aphelios a lot?
Yeah, I play not a lot, but I play them occasionally.
Okay. I guess I could play Tark if it came down to it, because I played both roles. But
You could. It would just be up to you. Oh man, what a night!
do you see what Khan said?
No, I'm hooking up something.
He said, "Paul, do you need to talk to us about Police Officer Bolivar?" Deemed inspired.
Oh god. I don't
There's
think
the pol-
I don't think I'm gonna be allowed to put that clip on TikTok of you saying that.
Why?
It's like it's flirting the line of like
Oh, do they have like rules or something?
not rules, but you can get like you got to be careful with like edgier stuff. Like it has to specifically like be in the name of comedy. But oh god,
I
that
didn't
was
mean it in an
hilarious.
edgy way. I just meant you have like a.
Oh,
You
I
know?
know what you meant. I'm just saying like TikTok can be fickle with that. Sometimes they're okay
Oh,
with it,
really?
sometimes they're not. Like it's iffy.
Alright. I need to send
Ugh.
this email.
And I need to get this exported and then ready to upload to YouTube for tomorrow. So thank you everybody for tuning in. What started as a dark episode got even darker. Ended on a very high note, I must say. Like this is the best possible way that we could have wrapped today up. Yeah. Don't know what else to say. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We will catch you next week on Wednesday. We'll be back to our normal day. We will likely do power rankings next week because then the following week the LCS will begin. So we're gonna have a special guest on next week, and hopefully nothing else hits the fan over the next week, but we'll see. Thank you all for tuning in. Hope you have a phenomenal night, and we will catch you later. Adios. Paul not gonna say his
Boogie in.
boogie. There we go. Was waiting for it.